If you found this video, then you're probably really tired. You've probably felt like you've tried absolutely everything. While some things have kind of worked, some things haven't, you may have also gaslit yourself into thinking that you are the problem. Now, this word discipline may have come up for you, but then also you felt your body rejecting it. Maybe you don't want to get up earlier. Maybe you don't want to do more. Maybe you want to finally feel like you are fully deserving of the things that you know have your name on them. A couple of years ago, I got a reading from a voodoo priest. Yes, it's a very interesting situation. She kind of low-key made me cry in the reading that all I need is discipline, that's my issue. I need discipline. And so for so long, I went down this rabbit hole of pushing myself, thinking that there just had to be something more that I can do in order for me to achieve my desires. But from someone who's went through that path, and also from someone who has achieved a lot of what I want to tell you that it's a different way for you to go about this whole entire process that doesn't involve you ignoring your body, that doesn't involve you ignoring your feelings, that doesn't involve you ignoring all the things that come up for you on this path. I want to break down the neuroscience of what it really means to receive your desires, not from a woo-woo standpoint, from a practical standpoint, because spirituality without implementation is delusion. I want to tell you that you're not crazy, that there's nothing wrong with you. That just because things haven't worked out in the past doesn't mean that there's something fundamentally wrong with you that makes your desires just unable to find you for life. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hi, my name is Corday, and yes, I believe that spirituality without implementation is delusion. So I help visionaries actually turn into actionaries through the art of ancient spirituality combined with my background in neuroscience. I wrote a whole free ebook on this if you really want to get deep into some prompts and this free guide, and it's going to be down below. And devotion starts on the 21st, so I know I'll see you there. But let's go deep into this. Right now, you may be thinking, I just need more discipline. I just need to do more. This is the exact limiting belief structure that is keeping you in the space of constantly punishing yourself. And from you constantly punishing yourself, you are literally telling yourself that you're not worthy until you do that other thing, that you're not worthy or deserving until you do more. The more that you keep moving on this path of trying to do more and also subconsciously telling yourself that you're not worthy until you do more, the more that you'll actually push your desires away from you. The process of discovering your true deservingness and reestablishing your self-worth, that's where things really start to become attracted to you. There's so much that I want to break down today. It's a 3-step process you may have noticed has happened every single time you try to commit to a goal. Step number 1, and yes, this is some lipstick. Step number 1 is you're getting really excited about your goal, right? So you may have dreamt about something, or you may have an idea. The minute that you get really clear about what it is, you start to get really excited about it. But what's really happening here is that the dopamine in your brain is creating that beautiful dopamine that you feel as that rush of starting something new. This rush of starting something new can also apply to new relationships, whether they be romantic or friendship. As you start moving towards that goal, you go up the mountain, and the second step is you begin to face uncomfortable feelings, right? Uncomfortable emotions. This is where a lot of the limiting beliefs may start coming up for you. Limiting beliefs such as, this is too hard, I'll never be able to do this, I'm good with settling for less. And what's happening here is 2 things. Number 1, the dopamine is wearing off, and your brain is beginning to say, okay, if I'm really gonna do this, where are the threats, or what is the reason why I wouldn't be able to do this? Let me try to make sure that I'll be safe on this path. For those of us who have done a lot of limiting belief work, then we may know what to expect, what limiting beliefs have persistently come up for us, depending on our childhood trauma and the things that we've been through. For some of us, we're maybe getting to a new level, a new height, and completely new limiting beliefs are coming in, imposter syndrome, and your brain is trying to protect you. We're also being faced with the fact that dopamine is coming down in the brain. So on one hand, this is happening. On the other hand, what's also happening within our bodies is that it's evoking this fight or flight response within us. Because of these limiting beliefs that are coming up, because our brains are getting triggered by the discomfort that we feel due to the limiting beliefs, what's really happening is our body is going into fight or flight. Now, why is that happening? Well, we have something called the amygdala in the brain, and this is the alarm system of the nervous system, right? This helps us detect threats. Now, the amygdala works really closely with another structure called the hippocampus. Your amygdala and your hippocampus will work together to tag or define certain memories so that in the future, if similar threats that were in the traumatic memories pop back up, then you know to get into fight or flight. You know to either have that response come up and brace yourself for the worst, or you know to either start running away. When things happen that really trigger those limiting beliefs such as, this is too hard, I'll never be able to do this, I'm not the type of person who can do this, right? Or I'm good with settling for less because asking for more is unsafe. Regardless of whatever comes up, what's really happening is those feelings and those emotions that are coming up within the body, your brain is now saying, oh, I remember this emotion, I remember this feeling, I felt this feeling the first time when insert traumatic memory here. Maybe it was connected with emotional trauma, physical trauma, or spiritual trauma, but your brain begins to search through all these memories in your memory bank, and if there is a similar environment or emotion that is invoked in the present moment, your brain will remember it from the past and send you into fight or flight in the present. So again, there's two things that happen here, the fight or flight response, and then you also can go right back into your dopamine addiction. This is where we have the issue of being consistent. This is where we have the issue of discipline. Many times it's so easy for us to start something, but we can't seem to finish it because the moment that we hit against those uncomfortable emotions, what ends up happening is that we look for another hit of dopamine. So many of us will just start a new relationship, start a new hobby, abandon a course or abandon a project because we're not getting the reward right here and right now. Some of us will just look for something quick. Maybe it's, whatever your vices are, to try to take the edge off. Whatever you can do to lower your anxiety, because right now your body is in fight or flight because all these uncomfortable emotions and limiting beliefs are coming up. If you decide to stay and see it through, then you get to step 3. 2 different sub-steps into this and 2 different lanes that we can take. And this is where it's really important for us to distinguish the difference between discipline and devotion. Override your fight or flight and continue to push forward despite your limiting beliefs. 2, you can step into devotion. Now, if you override your fight or flight, you continue to push forward despite your limiting beliefs, which a lot of people suggest, especially if you go on the internet. What's happening here is you end up pushing yourself. And so you also end up silencing yourself, silencing your emotion. Just don't listen to the limiting beliefs. Just don't listen to what's coming up in your mind. Just don't listen to your body. Just ignore your feelings, right? Just push yourself. Just keep going despite of what's coming up emotionally for you. And then what ends up happening many times is you burn out. And the moment that you burn out, you literally erode at your own self-trust because your brain goes, see, I told you weren't good enough for this. See, I told you it was too hard. See, I told you couldn't do it. And so you push yourself while ignoring your body and emotions, and you get right back to those limiting beliefs that you were initially feeling in step 2. Now, there's another way that you can move through this. There's another way that really allows you to shift into a space of power instead of burnout. And the way that I want to teach you about today is devotion. Before we get into devotion, I want to break this down for you because I thought this was really fascinating and really shows the energetics behind these 2 different words. The Latin root of discipline is discipulus. And I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I'll put the spelling right here. And what discipulus means is student, pupil, teacher, to train someone. Now, the Latin root of devotion is devolvere, a solemn vow or a solemn promise. Now, the difference between those 2 words are very interesting to me because when you are being disciplined, what you are insinuating is that you're following a specific routine. But what this doesn't allow is a flexibility and a new way of reimagining the routine as new feelings or new emotions come up for you within this process. What this also signifies to me is following someone else's rules, of looking into the external reality and deciding that someone else's else's blueprint as how you should do something. Now, when it comes to devotion and you think about the word of a solemn promise or vow, this is a promise by any means necessary. And it's not strict, it's not rigid. There's not a step-by-step way to do it. There's only that energy of vow or that energy of promise. I like to think of in the Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter. I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd, okay? When Snape made a unbreakable vow with Malfoy's mom to help him, Dumbledore, okay, by the end of the movie. There were so many different things that Snape was doing to cover Malfoy's ass the entire movie, and ultimately he did the act himself when Malfoy couldn't do it. And when we think about discipline, it may be do this, do that, and be very structured, and there's only a certain amount of options that you have on your path. When we talk about an unbreakable vow, we talk about responding to the environment, an unbreakable promise. No matter what happens, I am here for you. No matter what happens, I will help you fulfill this promise. So that energy of devolver versus discipulus is very different for me. Devotion starts with number one, tapping into what's coming up for you, tapping into what emotions, feelings, or things that are being elicited from your body. What's happening here? Second step is identifying the uncomfortable emotions that are coming up. When is the first time that I felt this way? Is this a feeling that's coming up from the past, or is it truly meeting me in the present? How is my body responding? Being able to have that body awareness to actually be honest about what's happening here, not just push it back down. Now, the third step here is regulating your nervous system and being able to get yourself back to baseline. Now, regulation is so important. If you read my ebook, the free ebook, then you already know that regulation is so important, because without self-regulation, you don't know who you are beyond fight or flight. You at ease, you with all needs met, you as the beautiful person that you are when you're not inflicted with all kinds of dangers and threats in your environment, there's a different version of you that comes online. Now, that version of you is the truest version of you. It's your home frequency. Fight or flight is not your home frequency. And if you've only known yourself in spaces of fight or flight, if you've never known calm, peace, or safety, then you don't know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you can't think that you are worthy of anything, and you also can't trust yourself. You can't think that you are worthy because you don't know what you're actually defining as worthy, because again, you don't know who you are. And you can't trust yourself because if you're constantly in a state of fight or flight, then your emotions are constantly being triggered. They're unpredictable. You don't know how you're going to respond because you're always on edge. And because of that emotional unpredictability, you can't trust yourself. So without regulating your nervous system, you can't trust yourself and you can't know yourself. But the moment that you regulate, you can know yourself well enough to trust yourself. And so regulating your nervous system is the key aspect of devotion, because not only does this allow you to value yourself and trust yourself, but it allows you to know that you are worth it. It allows you to really sit and step into this energy of being worthy, deserving of the end result. It allows you to cultivate the nervous system regulation that it takes to actually receive more than you ever have. Now, again, we have that regulation step. And then the fourth step here is to create your own formula. No longer looking to other people's blueprints and looking within at yourself. What could be the best for me, the best way that I can get to and through this for me? Knowing myself, knowing the things that trigger me, and also knowing how to regulate myself. What would best work with my nervous system? I want to take a quick pause here, and I want to share with you a few things that you can do to regulate your nervous system. Now, in the book Intimacy, the free ebook, I go through a lot more, and of course in Devotion we'll go through 55, one for every single day, but I want to break down a few of my favorite here. In our bodies, we have something called the vagus nerve, and when the vagal tone is high, then we're able to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system, the nervous system that's responsible for rest and digest, and turn off the fight or flight response. Now, the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. Now, vagus equals vagabond. So we have this nerve running through many different areas of the body. There are certain places in the body that are actually, the vagus nerve is coming more close to the surface. And there are certain places that we can stimulate in the body to stimulate the vagus nerve and increase our vagal tone. Now, why is this important? Because the higher our vagal tone, the easier it is for us to regulate our nervous system. Increased vagal tone also increases confidence, increases self-esteem, and increases self-trust. How to stimulate the vagus nerve? I'm going to do a couple more videos on this. Definitely comment below if you want to see them. But one of my favorite ways and easiest ways to stimulate the vagus nerve is to it out, right? So what do I mean by this? I mean literally making the sound of So when these uncomfortable emotions come up, first naming them, first identifying them, maybe even asking where these emotions are living in the body, maybe tapping into when is the first time that I felt this way, being able to look at the memory that is triggering you and have a different relationship with them. Of course, we cover this deeper in intimacy, but then also being able to regulate our nervous system. And again, one of these ways that we regulate our nervous system is through the sound of Now, why is that? The vagus nerve passes through many different areas of the body, but one of the major ways it passes, or one of the major places that it passes through, is the throat cavity, the throat and chest cavity. When you make the sound of you're literally stimulating the vagus nerve that passes through here. That's one beautiful and very simple nervous system regulation exercise. Another way you can regulate your nervous system is through extended exhales or physiological sigh. So breathing in for 4, holding, and breathing out for double the time signals to your parasympathetic nervous system that it is safe for you to go into rest and digest. Now, those are two very simple exercises that you can use to regulate your nervous system. And these 2 exercises can be used in the process of devotion. Now, why is this all important? Because you need to understand that one of the reasons why you can't be consistent is because you have an inability to confront these uncomfortable emotion. And the more that you allow yourself to run away every single time they come up, the more power these emotions have over you. The second that you're able to actually regulate your nervous system is the moment that you can actually embody your desires through nervous system regulation and shift into a space of accepting all the things that you deserve. Discipline to rigid routines will never out-train the fear that's going on within the body and the head. Listening to your nervous system, regulating your nervous system, and stepping into a routine that feels the best for you is going to be how you accomplish really hard things and build nervous system resilience. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Starting devotion on the 21st. Now, devotion is 55 days of nervous system reprogramming and regulation. Of course, you start off with one specific goal you want to accomplish at the end of the 55 days, and we go through it together in a way that feels good for you with using dozens of nervous system regulation tools. We also have weekly Zoom meetings for support and accountability. So I'll see you in devotion, and in the meantime, I'll see you in intimacy, which is the free ebook that goes along with devotion. Comment and let me know any revelations or transformations that came up within this space, and I'll speak to you soon.